Dear students, welcome to Doctor's Academy for Taxation and Accounting. In this video, let us discuss certain important definitions and terms used in income tax. First of all, let us discuss what is assessment year. According to section 2(9), assessment year is a period of 12 months starting from 1st April of this year and ends by 31st March of next year. Section 3. Previous year is a period of 12 months just preceding the assessment year, or it is the financial year during which the income is generated. So previous year normally the financial year. Financial year will be the previous year. Say for financial year is 1/4/2019 to 31st March 2020. This will be the financial year, at the same time it will be the previous year. But the assessment year is equal to the next 12 months, which means 1/4/2020 to 31st March 2021. The previous year for a newly set up entity, which starts from the date of its commencement. For example, the business started on 1st July 2019, for example, then the previous year is equal to 1/7/2019 to 31st March 2020. Suppose the business started on 1st November 2019 to, if the business started on 1st November 2019, then the previous year is equal to 1/11/2019 to 31st March 2020. Similarly, if the business started on 1st or 31st December 2019, then the previous year is equal to 31st December 2019 to 31st March 2020. And suppose the business started on 1st January 2020, then previous year is equal to 1st January 2020 to 31st March 2020. Finally, suppose the business started on 30th March 2020. Even at that case, previous year is this 30th March 2020 to 31st March 2020. So my dear friends, so normally the previous year will be a period of 12 months, but it need not be exactly. If a business which is started on the last day of the financial year, that single last day will be considered for that previous year. The date which falls into that financial year will be considered for that previous year. Then the next year will be the next 12 months will be the assessment year. Then what is financial year? Financial year is a period of 12 months which starts from 1st April of this year and ends by 31st March of next year. For example, 1/4/2019 to 31st March 2020 is a financial year. So it is a generally accepted accounting period. It adopts for bringing the accounting system into common platform. The assessee can prepare their books of account at their wish and convenience. But the thing is, he must prepare the books of account for producing to the income tax authority based on this financial year, which is the generally accepted accounting period. For furnishing to the income tax department or the authorities, different authorities, tax authorities to the government, the assessee must prepare the books of account starting from the financial year. Every financial year they have to adopt. Similarly, financial year plays dual role. See dear friends, every financial year plays two roles. One is, it acts as the previous year for the next assessment year. Acts as previous year for next assessment year. But at the same time, it acts as the assessment year for the previous financial year. The next definition is person. Section 231 defines person includes an individual, a Hindu undivided family, a company, a firm, an association of person, body of individual, whether incorporated or not, an artificial juridical person, or local authority, panchayat, municipality, cantonment board, corporation, etc., or any other person who could not be placed in the above mentioned points also would be included under the head person. Then the definition of assessee. Assessee, according to section 2(7) of the Income Tax Act, which defines assessee means a person who is liable to pay tax. Assessee may be a person who is liable to pay tax or who is liable to pay any other sum of money, whether this act or in respect of whom any proceedings under this act has been taken for the assessment of his income or the assessment of any fringe benefits, or in respect of whom any proceedings under this act has been taken for the assessment of the income of any other person in respect of which he is assessable, or in respect of whom any proceedings under this act has been taken for the assessment of the loss sustained by him or such other person, or in respect of whom any proceedings under this act has been taken for the amount of refund due to him or to such other person, or who is deemed to be an assessee, or who is an assessee in default. Deemed assessee. These are types of assessees who are assessed for others' income. Actually, they are not assessed for their own income, but will be assessed for others' income. Such assessees are said to be deemed assessees or representative assessees. Next is assessee in default. Assessee in default means these are types of assessee who are responsible for discharging some duty according to the Act, Income Tax Act in 1961, but they fails to do that. Such assessee is said to be assessee in default. For example, suppose the employer disburses salary to his employee and who is attracting to the taxable salary. Before disbursing salary to his employee, the employer must deduct tax deducted at source and the TDS deducted must be remitted to the government. So if he fails to do that, he will be termed as assessee in default. Now let us discuss the term income. As per section 224, there are about 28 types or 28 items are there for computing or defining the term income. But for our easy understanding, we can consolidate this definition into 5 broad heads as per the provisions of the Income Tax Act. The first head of income is income from salary. Any amount received from the employer by the employee in the form of wages, annuity, pension, fee, commission, gratuity, advance salary, leave encashment, annual accretion, fringe benefits, perquisites, profit in lieu of salary, or the contribution made by the employer towards any provident fund, etc., annual accretion, transferred balance, or any other contribution made by the employer towards any fund or annuity for the benefit of the employee comes under the head the income from salary. The crux is there should be an employer-employee relationship between these two parties, and any amount received from the employer or former employer or from the representative of the employer by the employee is said to be salary. Second is income from house property. Income from house property is the second head of income or type of income under which the rent received or based on the annual value, the income will be computed. Third one is income from business or profession. Under this head, any income received from business or profession such as doctor, engineer, lawyer, chartered accountants, etc. would be considered for example. Then fourth head of income is capital gain. Capital gain means gain arising out of the transfer of capital asset. If any if any asset transferred or sold or surrendered or compulsorily acquired and the assessee generates any income, gains any benefits, that will be considered as capital gain. Last point is other source of income. Other source of income. If any income which could not be placed in the first head of income salary, second head of income house property, third head of income business or professional income, and the fourth head of income capital gain would be placed in the last head of income, that is residual head of income or other source of income. For example, dividend received, interest on bank deposit received, winning from lottery, winning from crossword puzzles, owning and maintenance of race horses, etc. are example for this. So, for our easy understanding, as per the provision of Income Tax Act, section 224, we can consolidate the broader types of income which attracts for tax liability consolidated into these 5 heads of income. If all the 5 heads of income added together, it is said to be gross total income. Gross total income is nothing but all the heads of income computed according to the relevant provisions of this act and added together is said to be gross total income. From the gross total income, if section 80C to 80U applied, then it is said to be total income or taxable income. total income or taxable income. So before deducting section 80C to 80U, it is said to be gross total income. After deducting 80C to 80U, it is said to be total income or taxable income. Next term is concept of income. Even the large number of points that we are discussing as per section 224 with respect to the income tax for the income, it is not a conclusive one. There may be certain more items, few more items may be included or to be considered while calculating the term income. First point is there should be a definite source of income. An income. Second is the income could be legal income or it could be received through illegal activity. It could be legal or illegal. It is immaterial that whether the income is legal or illegal from the point of view of income tax. If income is generated, if income is realized through legality or illegal way, it is immaterial, but it will qualify or it will come under the head, the definition income. Then next point is regularity. It need not be the income received in a regular basis. For example, daily basis received in the form of wages or in the form of salary that is received in monthly or it is annually received. It need not be like that. Even it is a single receipt, a lump sum amount received in a single time, only one time, that also would be considered as income. For example, winning from lottery. The people normally will not win lottery always, but it may happen once in a blue moon. So once it is won, it would be considered as income. So point is there is no need of the regularity of the earning of such income. Next point is income should be received from outside, which means suppose a person or the members in an association of person contributes towards for a program, and after completion of the program, after absorbing the expenses of that program, some amount remains there and which is distributed across the members of that association, that amount received will not be considered as income. So the point is the income should be received from outside. Next point is think that to qualify it as income, it should be in the form of money, no need. Perquisites received. Perquisites means the benefits in the form of service or kind which is attached to the office, or kind or service received also would qualify or considered as income. Income could be temporary or permanent. Income due or accrued will be considered as income. It need not be exactly it is received, even it is due or accrued or yet to receive also will be considered as income if it is accrued. Next point is deduction under legal obligation. If any amount deducted from the income of an assessee under a legal obligation, then it will not be considered as an income. Pin money received by the wife from her husband for maintenance will not be considered as an income, and if she make any small investment out of the pin money received, that will not qualify or considered as income. If any income is under a dispute, the taxability of that disputed income is, it will be from the hands of the person who is in receipt of that disputed income. Next is diversion of income and application of income. Diversion and application. Application of income is nothing but just expending the money received, just applying the money whatever received. It is taxable only.
It is just expended, that's all. So it is taxable. But the case of diversion of income, the income which is diverted from the source itself based on some legal obligation, so that will not be taxed. So my dear friends, diversion of income, if it is happened from the source itself before it due to the hands of the assessee based on some legal obligation, it will not be taxed. But application of income is always taxable. It is nothing but just applying the money or spending the money. Suppose any additional payment received because of the currency devaluation, that also will be added along with the income. So the amount received in connection with the devaluation of currency also will be added with the income. Now the receipts made by Dharmada or Goshala, Dharmada or Goshala receives any amount, so that will not be considered as an income. And finally, income may be plus or minus. The income could be plus or minus in the sense that the income, the term income represents loss also. And the next term is casual income. Any income in the nature of non-recurring is said to be casual income. For example, winning from lottery, winning from betting, gambling, etc. So, dear friends, these are the certain definitions and terms that we use extensively while computing the income tax. Hope this video is useful. Please like it, share it and subscribe it. Thank you very much.